So
All right, go for it.
I think this is a journalist. Don't forget. I don't remember where. Let me look her up real quick. Let me see her name right. Flora Gill. She is a journalist for. They're just telling about the tweet. I want to know where she works. A
What
British
the
journalist.
fuck? Just that
Okay.
headline alone.
Okay, so she's a British journalist. So she's a British journalist. I don't know if they say which particular company she's with, but she tweeted this particular tweet out saying, "Someone needs to create porn for children. Hear me out. Young teens are already watching porn, but they are finding hardcore, aggressive videos that give a terrible view of sex. They need entry-level porn, a softcore site where everyone asks for consent and no one gets choked, etc." And the reason why I wanted to throw a little jab at Doc, because it goes to this sentiment that we previously had when it came to that sex ed discussion about exposing kids to masturbation. They're already doing it, so why not just show them ahead of time and early and teach them the do's and the don'ts? That's why I had a problem with that, because that's such a slippery slope, because you can then apply it to other things. They're already watching porn. Why not create a special site for them to get good porn?
I don't know if I'm against that though.
Oh, gosh, Doc, no. No,
Like-
Doc,
I
no.
knew you was gonna say some crazy
No!
shit. That's why I'm looking dead at your ass.
No.
That's why I'm looking dead at your ass. I knew G was gonna put your head right here. So I can look at this rubbish that you was gonna say. Go ahead, keep speaking. Rubbish.
I mean, it makes to me, it
Rubbish.
makes sense. Like,
Let him explain.
Let them learn
Dog,
like a little
go
bit. They're
for it,
already
B.
doing it. Like, yeah, they
At
like,
least you're
they
consistent,
hit
Doc.
a lot of hard walls. Like, I mean, if you kind of have like a tutorial, like it's, I feel like it'd be safer. And right now we are having the lowest birth rates we've ever had. We gotta put those numbers back up, man. We gotta show. So, but it depends on like the age. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not, like, I'm not throwing it at like 4 or 5 year olds, but like, fucking actually flesh it out to where maybe it targets like 17 and up or 18 and up. Like, it very much depends on what they
18
want.
up is regular porn, so you just want to lower the age to 17 then?
I don't think that's what she's implying, though. I think what
I
she's
know,
implying is that when you get access to, say, a porn site, you get access to all of it, and there's just some of it that you shouldn't see before the regular stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because if you do that, then you immediately are just like, oh, so I can do this.
Doc smoking, I'm smoking. Because
And,
Doc gotta
like-
be smoking. You hear me? Doc gotta be smoking.
No, dude, I'm just saying, like, if you go straight to the hardcore shit and you think that's, like, okay, and you don't think that's, like a movie, then you probably might try it. You know what I mean? Like,
There's already softcore porn, though.
I mean, I agree that porn nowadays, and that's not even porn, just people's sexual preferences now, and that's probably a good segue into this clip. Maybe you can talk about it. It's gotten crazy. It's gotten out of hand. Like, the level of kinks now, it's just, whoa, I didn't even
ain't
know
gonna
that
lie.
was a kink.
I can't even compete with some of these girls.
Dude.
Jesus Christ.
So I get what you're trying to say. Like, sometimes when you go on porn, just look for something simple as just a man and woman being intimate with each other. You get something crazy that you probably shouldn't have been exposed to. I understand. I just don't. This concept of, I don't know. That's just weird to me. Of a special place for kids. I don't want to say kids. I'm sorry. She did say young. Young teens. She did say young teens. I'll give her that. She did say young
So
teens.
that's
yeah, I feel like
13,
if it's like
14.
the kids section or some shit like that, that'd be fucking
13,
creepy.
14.
But exactly though. But when it's
Wait,
young
can we
teens,
pick
the
an
cutoff?
age group that we're talking about right here? Can we agree that this discussion
Anything-
we're about to have
Anything
is
under
about
18 is a problem for me personally. That's why no matter what number you say, it's going to be a problem for me. I'm not even going to lie to you.
But Doc, your conversation is centered around what age group? I'm giving you opportunity to clarify.
To me, the lowest number I went was like 17 and up. And it also, like, it kind of begs the moral question, like, who's going to film it? Like, are you going to have 17-year-olds doing this so that it's relatable? Because then that's even weirder, you know what I mean? And it would have to be like
Whoa.
adults
Open them streets up, Doc.
making videos that are like educational for this age.
So you want to make an educational porn site so young teens can understand how to be intimate with each other.
And it should be hosted by Chris Hansen.
I mean, dude, fucking Japan's teaching them how to be intimate because they're not fucking and their numbers are going down. Like they have intimacy trainings. It doesn't sound too far fetched to me. Like it.
It
It's
sounds
just
like
it depends
such a
like
bad
how
idea.
awkward it gets pulled off. Like don't get me wrong. Like I'm pretty sure there'll be some cheesy videos. It's just like I get the point that she's trying to make, and depending on the way it's executed, it could be beneficial. It just like you said, it depends on the execution. To me, it's not like a hard no. It's like show me a plan, and then I'll decide. But
My
for
issue
right
with
now-
this. Finish your thought. Sorry, Doc.
But like for right now, like depending on like if it's like too young and stuff like that, then it's just like no, that's fucking stupid. Or if it's just like super restrictive, like you can only do this way, like only missionary, like this is what fucking churches already teach and stuff like that. Like you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be weird, but I honestly do think for people, especially if they're like socially awkward or they need instruction, it could benefit them. Like, dude, how many times when you were growing up and you were fooling around, like, did you meet somebody who's just like learning stuff like through investigation, through porn? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know I did. Like, I was just like, what can I do to be? Because I didn't want to suck, and so I was like, how do I be better at this? Because
gonna be a
evidently
lot
as
of
a guy,
sucking
like, I have to
going
do
on.
this with a lot of girls to be validated, and so let me try and actually teach myself this stuff. And I remember just like doing like the minimal research here and there and be like, oh, I can do that technique or that motion, or I can do this, you know, with like my tongue, and be like, oh, okay, cool, that works. Like, I actually learned something. And dude, I'm not gonna lie, like it actually helped me out a lot of times. It's just when I was going through that, I do remember seeing shit that I was just like, I don't want to be here. Like, no, this isn't what I'm looking for.
Doc
And
and
so-
middle school is lit up.
Yeah, dude, like guiding them through it, or maybe just even like, you don't even have to make.
So my question,
Like-
wait, I have a question though. So
I got a point after John. Go
will
for it.
there be instructional videos on oral sex? What forms of sex would be deemed?
Well, that
Education.
already
What type of
exists, man.
sex?
Like even just bringing up like the stuff that I
'Cause
was
you gonna have
talking about.
dudes
Like
in
I
middle
saw
school like,
instructional
"Bitch, see?"
videos, like
So
like down to the like this is what you should do with your finger, and this is what you should do like in this motion, and like look at like I straight up saw instructional videos. I remember when I was just like 17 and like freaking out because I didn't
Sticking to that age. my
know if
boy.
I needed to be good at this immediately, and that stuff already exists, man. I think honestly, at this point, what you could do is probably just categorize
hold on,
websites
hold on.
better.
Oh, no, okay, a question
No,
then.
no,
But
real
no,
quick,
because
real
we
quick,
don't
real
have a
quick.
conversation if he keeps saying 17. You hear me? Because he's basically just saying lower it 1 year or figure something out for the 17-year-olds transitioning into going 18. That is understandable. Now, she is talking about 13, 14. Take 13 out.
15.
14, 15.
I agree. I think so too. But hold on, real quick. Make my point. My whole thing.
Do
with
you
this
still
convers-
defend that point with those same words?
Not so much. To me, like I was saying, like
Come on!
17 was like the lowest number I went. Like showing 13-year-olds like hardcore porn, or
She didn't say hardcore. She said softcore, which I would. So, are you still okay with softcore porn? Missionary.
Not for 13-year-olds, man. Like what? Because you're just kind of like encouraging
Exactly. So this is
higher
the point I'm
pregnancy
trying.
rates at a lower age, which
Ex-
isn't exactly the spot you want to be. You want it to be over 18, and then like I feel like even though it's still a really low age to get pregnant at, like I think then you can probably at least survive with a child and stuff like that. A lot of people do it. A lot of people get pregnant at 18 and manage to have a family and be still like, within the middle class and stuff like that, or they live their life out like fruitfully. I think at a really, really low age, though, it's just creepy.
Exactly.
I think the idea can be introduced to a kid, and the whole like
By the parents.
the
though,
concept
not
of
by
like condoms and stuff like that can be introduced, because 13-year-olds still have
Years
fucking
before they
kids and stuff
combine.
like that. I just don't think like they should be instructed at such a young age to be like, well, they're gonna do it anyway. But it's like,
But, okay,
nah.
so let me.
At 17, I think they're gonna do it anyway, and that's
well,
the
obviously.
prime time.
Let me make my point real quick. So my issue with this entire discussion is, it's not we're not talking about a solution to the problem. And the problem is an over-sexualized society. We're not trying to solve the fact that our society has become over-sexualized. We're trying to continue the fact that we're over-sexualized by going younger and younger and younger. And I just hit something.
My boy really banging.
By going, I am banging because
He's banging for that cross
by
on his forehead right now. Get it out. Get it off your chest.
By going younger and younger. If we really want to promote safer sex, like I said earlier, I'm going to blame social media. You can go on Instagram. There you go. Softcore porn. You got girls on their bikinis, in lingerie, in no bra, wearing the thinnest shirts.
By the way, we turning 30 soon.
And that's still affecting our youth, affecting these 13 and 14-year-old boys who want to be like, I got my libido going crazy. It's not the fact that they need to be exposed to softcore porn or more educational outlets. It's the fact that they're exposed, period, to sexual things at a younger age when they shouldn't be exposed to it.
So let me ask you something.
So how is being exposing to sexual porn? Because it's affecting our youth, clearly. We have kids getting pregnant at a younger and younger age. We have kids, girls specifically, at a younger age, going to clubs, dressing promiscuously, being promiscuous. I'm not trying to say promiscuity is bad, but at a certain age, it can be bad.
But that's always happening.
Can I play?
But we're making it worse at higher rates. Like, I understand it's always happening, but by making this more accessible, more normal, it's happening at higher rates. Is it not a problem that a 13-year-old girl can put on makeup and a dress and look like she's 21 and then get us the same, I don't want to say sexual attention, but just attention from a 20 year-old man?
So
is that okay? Because that's happening.
Well, that's always happened.
But let me.
But that's a.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna make you finally accept that argument, and then we're gonna let that part of it go. Okay? I agree with you. That's not okay. Like 13-year-olds being pregnant and all that, it's not okay. But to Doc's point, just historically speaking, how long have we found it to not be okay? 1800s was going on. So up until the 1800s happened, 1900s maybe, early 1900s. That's probably when we stopped.
Sure.
Impregnating 13-year-old girls, right?
But
no, I'm saying literally.
Sure, it's been going on.
So maybe less than 80, 90 years of history where we've not found it to be okay. And I agree, it's not okay. But to say it's happening at an increased rate now, you can say, oh, it's spiking back up. But technically speaking, it is not increasing based on, we
don't have the numbers to say whether or not it's not.
Yeah.
I still think it's...
History would prove it was actually popular.
Within the span of 100 years, it's definitely increasing.
I think we're going the opposite direction, actually, because, before...
What do you mean opposite direction?
It was okay to marry 12-year-olds and stuff like that at, 20 or 25. It's not okay anymore, and it's kind of gone towards, the other side for a decade between, age differences and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, it still happens, 15-year-olds and hook up with, 25-year-olds. And you're right, it's not okay because it's degeneracy. The thing about it is that, it's not systemic anymore where it was expected for a 25-year-old to marry a 12-year-old and stuff like that. Even my grandparents, they have a huge age difference. It's a 12-year age difference. And he married my grandmother when she was far younger because it was a custom norm. I think she was 15 when she got married. And so in just the entire lifespan of 2 generations, that has shifted a decade as far as a cultural norm. And so, and even within the country that he did it. So I think we're going in a more positive route. I do think you see that happening, what you're concerned about. My biggest issue with it is that do you think 15-year-olds get pregnant on purpose?
Of course not. Who wants to get pregnant at such a young age?
So you consider it an accident, right?
Of course. And if
so then how do you reduce accidents?
Information.
Training. You
train them how to have sex, dude.
And that's kind of
come on, bro. It's such a jump to me.
it's the thing though. Like, I mean, when you practice something, you reduce the level of accidents. You know what I mean? Like, that's what training is doing. And I'm not saying, like, don't get me wrong. Like, training is a very broad word, and I know it kind of freaks people out to be like, we're training people to have sex or training children to have sex. Like, no,
I'm not
no,
focused
no,
on the
like,
training. I know what you mean. That's education, just education.
Yeah,
period.
education. Yeah,
I get it.
and that's kind of like the thing that I kind of push more to this. Don't get me wrong; it has to be like developed well, so that it's tasteful. It's just you just have to kind of.
Then I guess what we need to talk about is how this education goes about. Because I guess my problem is my perspective. I'm focusing too much on what she literally said, which is an entry-level porn. And when I think of porn, I honestly don't think of education. Yes, you can find educational videos on porn on how to teach you things. But generally speaking, when I think of porn, it's not for education. It's for pleasure. It's for satisfaction.
First off, we shouldn't even have this conversation. Because how do you even facilitate this?
Like Doc was trying to say, what do you have? Adults filming this? Do you have?
She's not talking about putting anything in school.
Good point.
This whole conversation is like somebody needs to create porn for children.
That's where it would be groundbreaking, where you would have to make something
independent porn for children.
Dog,
no, that's what I'm saying. You would have to make something tasteful that people actually are willing to accept.
It doesn't matter. I'm saying
even sex ed.
I'm saying if this. Okay, I don't believe in big government at all. But I wouldn't. We trust an independent company to just what they do. They do kids books and like who do Fisher Price? Like you get what I'm saying? Who?
My biggest problem with this, and this applies to everything that revolves around sex. Parents, that's it. Family. Anyone trying to teach my kids personally anything revolving around sex, I don't think you should. I don't even want to teach other kids anything about sex. If the school does do it, it has to be consent. There has to be tell parents.
Oh, for sure.
We want to teach your kids this. This is what we're going to teach them. They need to see the material first so they can be like, I agree with this. I don't agree with this, blah, blah, blah. The problem I have with this is where do the parents come in? They don't.
The problem
you're basing this off of a tweet, though, man.
Fair.
Like, if this was implemented, yes, that would be part of it.
The problem is that look at the goddamn tweet. Someone needs to create porn for children. Hear me out. Young teens are already watching porn, but they're finding hardcore, aggressive videos that give them a terrible view of sex. They need entry-level porn, a softcore site where everyone asks for consent and no one gets choked, etc. Now, question. Website is what she posted there, correct? Correct. So now how do you get those teens to only go to that website?
Because pedophiles exist.
No, I'm just saying.
That'd be it. I mean,
it's not possible what she's talking about. It's like, hold on, we're gonna create a Twitter just for the young teens. All the young teens just gonna sign up for the real Twitter.
Well, you would hope that maybe they implement it somewhere where maybe a youth foundation within a community gets a hold of the website and says hey man, if you really want to know about this stuff, here's a website, here's a card that has the website and information that you can learn it, and it'll steer you in the right way. But you're definitely right, dude. I mean, teens get into drugs and stuff like that, and they're not fucking told where to go.
Let me tell you exactly how that shit would work. If you made porn targeted for 14 and 15-year-olds, 10, 11, and 12-year-olds would be the ones looking at it.
Younger and younger. That's what I was saying,
and
bro.
15-year-old.
So they're already doing that.
Saying? No.
Why not put in a buffer, though?
But I'm saying you're creating a larger region is what you're doing. It's creating a larger landing
When does
pad.
it stop? When does it stop?
Dude, they're all
when do we just draw
12-year-olds and 11-year-olds are already going into these sites when
Okay, so for example,
they find a way in sometimes.
The filters that would be placed on regular pornographic videos, I'm sure in your teenage videos would be able to be shared more frequently than the more hardcore stuff along social platforms. So chances are they'll be more visible.
Well, the hope would be, I think, that they're already. So if you're saying 11 and 12-year-olds are already going to get into it, it just shouldn't exist. Well, the hope would be that you still lock out whatever this website is. That's the softcore educational site. You still leave it to 17 and 18-year-olds, and you hope that that's what the 11-year-olds find as opposed to the worst shit. And then from there, they're like, oh, okay, like they have a little bit more understanding, and then like maybe you didn't let one fall through the cracks. But like it's right now a reality that an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old can find the hardcore shit, and maybe not land on the
just
educational shit.
And I agree with what you said there. Like, hopefully, if they're gonna look for it, they're gonna look for it. But in my opinion, and I don't know why, so I have to let it go. I feel like more 11 and 10-year-olds is my problem. The quantity would increase that we're actually coming across porn. Whereas if the quantity didn't increase, in my opinion, then I get what you're saying. You feel me? But if creating that genre increases porn's intake, then it's almost like, because then also the craziest thing is, you're not speaking about how addicting porn is. Like, it's also unhealthy to be addicted to porn. So now you're almost starting an addiction at a younger age, which is a whole nother side of the argument or conversation.
When does it stop?
Well, the argument against that is repression. So if you don't teach a kid anything, then they repress themselves, and they don't.
But we saw the video that was cartoon characters and it was cats. That's not considered porn. We knew what happened when they went under the sheets and the sheets started moving. You remember the video, Gene?
I do.
I still think some people are sexually repressed, and when stuff like that gets put down too low, it comes out in a negative way. It comes out as an outburst. And I mean, I don't know the psychology behind it enough to argue it. I do think that like to some extent like you have to kind of like open people up to sex in a good way, in a positive light. Not for the sake of just complete and utter indulgence, but just so that you can be like, look, this is a part of life and something you will eventually have to experience.
No, sorry. Because immediately in my mind, I just imagined a little middle school boy pulling up on a little middle school girl, be like, hey, girl, I'm not trying to do nothing real hardcore. I'm just trying to do some entry level.
Yo, see what
Nah, bro. Most kids would not do that. That kid's just...
They're already doing it, Doc, right?
Bro.
They're already doing it. And what we're talking about is a debauchery topic, a debauchery thing. So what makes you think they won't do that?
Shit? What was the last time you saw a kid go out trying to do some entry-level shit?
I don't know, Doug. When I was in middle school, I went, some of those guys, they were smooth.
And they were doing some entry-level shit.
They were doing some entry-level shit. I knew a guy in 7th grade was doing some entry-level shit.
Y'all gotta cool out.
Yo.
Oh,
so hold on, to close this out quick.
Hey, you know who would say some entry level shit? You gotta find a picture, video, or a picture of this boy. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. That video, have you seen him? The little black boy. He's like, don't worry about it, sweetheart. He's like 6 years old. Telling a little girl, don't worry about it.
You know, it'd be bad
if
a girl used this against you. If like she'd be like, nah, I broke up with him. Like, why? Because he's entry level. It'd be like, fuck.
Oh
gosh.
Shit. So real quick, we're over an hour. Let me close this out. So pretty much what it sounds like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong here, both.
And there's another way. Sorry, that bitches will not count a body. We didn't fuck. We just did some entry level shit.
So it seems like the issue we have here is a balance. We have, from what Doc mentioned, the flip side is sexual repression. And then the other side of it is my big issue, clearly, is overexposure.
Word of Jesus Christ.
And we're not trying to do is we're not trying to have the middle ground. And that's, I think, right now where the big issue is. Like, I mentioned it. We have an over-sexualized society. Doc's like, what's wrong with an over-sexualized society? And I can say several things that are wrong with an over-sexualized society.
Like I said, we're going to be 30 soon.
And Doc can point to, well, not having a sexualized society, period, presents repression. True, but we're already over an hour. We can get to maybe another time to nuance it.
I mean, that's the big argument, man. Like, that's the big issue of our country, right? Where some people believe we're over-militarized and under-sexualized. Other people believe we're under-sexualized and over-militarized. Like, or vice versa. I said that wrong.
I know what you mean.
And I believe guns go with sex.
Sure. This topic, I was not expecting this conversation. I'm not even going to lie. This is great.
Bang,
this
bang,
is great.
bang, bang, bang.
All right.